And let's welcome David Crabb, everybody.
When I was little, I was obsessed with the show Silver Spoons. And I thought I could make that show. And I told my dad I want a video camera for my birthday. I was turning 11. So he got me the video camera, and I used it for 2 days. And I realized, wait, I'm on the wrong side of this equation. I don't want to make the show. I want to be Ricky Schroeder. So I zipped up the camera, and I demanded that my mother enroll me in an acting class. And she did at the John Casablanca School of Modeling and Performing Arts, which was in a strip mall between an H&R Block and a TCBY yogurt. So I'm taking my classes, and my dad was pissed off that I didn't want the camera, and that I thought I could be a movie star. And my dad was a good old boy, born and raised in San Antonio, Texas. He wore trucker hats and cowboy boots and tight Wrangler jeans, and he drove around the South in his RV fixing people's telephones as a fiber optic technician. That was Larry. And at the time, he had just started dating a Korean woman named Young. That he had met in Georgia. Now, this was the most exotic thing that had ever happened to me in my life. Because all of my dad's previous marriages and divorces were all to very white women. And at the time, I was obsessed with Susie Wong. Does anyone remember her? She had the Pearl Cream commercials. I loved her. And I had no exposure to Asian people. I had Mr. Miyagi, the guy that colored my mom's hair in the mall, and Kung Fu with David Carradine. And that was confusing enough because I actually thought he was Asian until I was like 15. I missed that part of the narrative. I didn't get it. But that was the whole point. So I start to fantasize about like my dad and Young and what they do. And I'm like, maybe they sit beneath bamboo chimes. And my father trims a bonsai tree while Young makes dumplings and presents them on a plate decorated with lychee blossoms. And then as the sun sets, he lovingly binds her feet. I know, it's horrible. But one Asian girl in my high school, I'm telling you, that's it. So my dad is dating Young, and he comes back on a little trip home, because he's only home like a week a month. And he says, David, can I borrow that video camera? I'm going to take a road trip with Young. I thought it'd be really cool to film it. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, sure, here. So he took the camera, and I moved on to really advanced scenes in my acting classes from shows like Charles in Charge and Kate and Alley. And my dad goes away, and he comes back a few weeks later, gives me the camera, and I put it away, and we chat, and he leaves. So the night after he leaves, the phone rings. I'm like, hello, it's my dad. And he says, hey, David, how you doing? I said, oh, I'm good, Dad. You know what? I like to think of us as friends. I know that you're still young, but I think of you as an adult, a young man. And I would like to think that even if you weren't my son, we would still be friends. I did the damnedest thing. I left a video in that video camera I gave you back. And I just hope that you can respect me enough as your friend and your father to not watch it. Okay. So at this point, this is in the olden times when you have a cord on the phone. The cord is, I'm testing the law of physics. I'm like, I'm like reaching through the house, like, to get the video camera. I'm like, curiosity. I want it so bad. So I finally get off the phone with my dad. I'm like, yeah, see you in a few weeks. Hang up the phone. I get the video, and I put it in the VCR. Now, I do have that moment, even at 11, where I'm like, what am I going to discover right now? Do I want to know what my father's life is like 3 weeks out of the month? And I push play. So, it's a hotel room. The camera is obviously placed on that little sort of like side table between the two full beds. It's the same setup in every hotel. So it's kind of facing where there's like the TV and like a mirror and a dresser. So I'm like waiting, just nothing's happening. It's like silent for like 15 seconds. And then all of a sudden from, I guess, a little stereo somewhere in the room plays, Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. My dad strolls out from the side in the biggest cowboy hat you've ever seen. He's in tight jeans and one of those like cowboy shirts with like gold threads in it so it catches the light. He has a rolled up magazine, like a microphone, and he proceeds to, with more like zest and vigor than my father has ever done anything, perform as if he's in like the main stage at the rodeo. Mamas, don't let your babies. Thanks for coming out, y'all. How y'all doing? He's pointing at pillows, being like, ain't you a pretty thing? Mamas, don't. He does the entire song. And then he finishes with a big brown, brown. Every country song ends that way. Brown, brown. And then he holds his hat and he stands there and he goes. And he turns it off. I never told my father that I saw the video, but I had that moment afterwards where I thought, you know, this is strangely weirder than the bizarre, like, gay truck stop snuff film that I could have seen. Because this is just, like, weird and vulnerable, you know? Like, this is like, ugh. But we never did discuss it, but to this day sometimes, I wish my dad would have let me know that he had similar aspirations, because I think he would have been an awesome scene partner. Thank you.
David Crabb. That's some fun stuff.